Once upon a time, back on Good Friday of 1995, a fellow down in central Alabama went on a fishing trip. He launched his boat down at a place called the Yacht Club, which is right down below Smith's Camp, back up in a little shit creek. Anyway, he fished all morning, caught quite a few small fish, nothing to write home about. Got ready to go home, so he went back over to the marina, tied his boat up, backed his truck back down to the water, put the trailer in, screwed up a little. He got his trailer just a little farther down in the water than he normally did. His truck was a manual shift Chevrolet, and as usual, he left the motor running, transmission in neutral, with the emergency brake on. So he gets out there and gets his boat lined up, runs it up to the trailer, and he hit the trailer just a little bit hard. Like I said, it was down in the water farther than usual, and strange squeaking noise happened, and then it happened again. Well, he stood up to go hook his winch strap on to the front of the boat. He got towards the front, and he noticed the squeaking was the truck rolling backwards towards the water. Well, like an idiot, he jumped to the back of the boat, waiting on the truck to stop rolling, and the truck didn't stop rolling. Somehow or another, the bow of the boat got under the winch of the trailer, and the farther down the ramp the truck went, the farther out of the water the back of the boat came. Well, when the outboard motor, which was still running, cleared the water and gave its loud roar, the idiot jumped for the pier closest to him and missed, landed in the water. He came up to find his boat upside down and the truck floating out into the water. Well, he swam over to the boat ramp and sat there for a second, watching the truck. It's still running, floating on out towards the middle of the creek. Well, he sees his dry box floating with the lid open, which has got his pistol and his wallet and all other kinds of crap in it. So he swims out there real quick, gets that, pulls it back over to the ramp with him. Well, the motor on the truck ran until the hood nosed under, and then it was just gone. Well, a crew was working on top of the hill, Jefferson County, whatever, landscaping crew. They all came down to check on the guy, make sure he was all right. And he told the dude, said, "Yeah, I want you to kick me in the side of the head, and let's make sure I'm awake." The guy said, "Well, you are awake." Well, the old guy didn't really know what to do, so he pulls his boat over to the pier, still upside down, and ties it up. Goes inside to use the phone. He called his wife. Then he called his insurance company. Then he went and called a wrecker. So he went and sat on the pier to wait for the wrecker to show up. Well, a little while later, a boat pulls up with this unlucky fellow's friend and another guy in it. They'd been out fishing also, and the friend looked at the boat, looked at the boy on the pier, and said, "I know that's not your boat." The guy said, "Yeah, it is." So the other boy looks over at the parking lot and says, "Where's your truck?" He says, "Right there underneath you." "Oh, I know you're lying now." Well, then the other jackass looks at the depth finder on the front of the boat and says, "No, he's right. There it is. There that truck is, right down there below us." He said, "I can see the interior light running." So it was all just a big joke. A little while later, another boat pulled up with two drunk guys in it. Everybody was going to try to flip the boat back upright. And about the only comical part of the day is when the boat did tip upright, the owner of the boat had a rubber snake in his hand, and he screamed and threw the snake up on the pier, and the two drunks fell over backwards into their boat. That was pretty funny. The wrecker showed up. A man had pulled up and seen what was going on and volunteered to go down and hook up for the wrecker. Drove all the way back to Pleasant Grove and got his scuba gear and come back, and poor guy had just had open heart surgery like 3 weeks before, still recovering. He went down and hooked up, said that the truck was sitting at about 23 feet of water behind a tree. So the wrecker operator starts tugging on it. Before you know it, the front end of the wrecker's off the ground. Several of the drunks, this done turned into a pretty wild party, climbed up on the front bumper of the truck, front bumper of the wrecker, with their beers in their hand, trying to hold the front of that thing down. Well, they couldn't do it, so they pulled another truck over and chained it. Kept tugging, finally got the pickup truck and the trailer over the tree and coming up the slope of the ground to the ramp. Finally got it out of the water. Only way you could tell anything had happened to it, there was mud caked in the grill of the truck and the water and the brim that were inside the truck running out as they pulled it up the ramp. So it was a very exciting Good Friday for this fella. And even now, 20 years later, 19 years later, my butt still draws up when I back anywhere around the water. You've got to be careful with the trucks and the boat trailers.